Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment and informational purposes only. The views and opinions expressed in this video are those of the creator and do not necessarily reflect the views of any organization. The creator of this video is not responsible for any errors or omissions, or for any actions taken based on the information presented in this video. Viewer discretion is advised. In a previous episode, it was mentioned that the CIA has a global workforce of over 20,000 individuals and an annual budget of $1.5 billion. This budget amounts to approximately 2.5% of the total annual budget of the United States military. This does not include black budgets, so you can imagine what this agency can do. The CIA is responsible for providing intelligence to the U.S. military. Each military branch of the U.S. military has a CIA director responsible for coordinating with the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Former directors of the CIA have been senior officers from various branches of the U.S. military or even the Secretary of Defense. The Project Blue Book of the Air Force was basically investigated by the CIA, with assistance from the Air Force. For example, well-known U-2 and State Route 71 reconnaissance planes were developed at the request of the CIA, and were researched and test-flown at their most secure Area 51. So now you can understand the relationship between the CIA and the Air Force. Cooper said that the Project Blue Book was, to some extent, a kind of fraud, and many of the cases inside were fabricated. The government's conclusion that most of them were natural phenomena and a few were unclear was completely misleading to the public. It made people think that UFOs were nothing special, and that sightings around the world were just natural phenomena or illusions caused by balloons, etc. This is actually a psychological warfare tactic to reduce public interest in aliens and UFOs, making people even think that real UFO sightings are fake. This tactic is very effective, and now if you show anyone a photo of a UFO, their first reaction is that it's fake. This was the goal of the Project Blue Book. Cooper had contact with several real UFO cases, all of which were related to the Roswell Grays. That's when he realized that the legends were actually true. Richard asked him how he felt when he first learned about these things, and he said he felt overwhelmed with information and didn't know how to judge what was true and what was false. People were confused in that moment.
How did you feel when this first got dumped on you?
I was just kind of overwhelmed when I don't have much knowledge of it, you know.
He said he couldn't share this information with anyone at the time, and the typical deadline for this was 40 to 50 years, which for him ended in 2010. This provides very useful information. It explains why many people involved in these incidents come forward in their old age, despite the risks, because there is a deadline after which they can reveal the information without consequences. So when he appeared on a radio show in 1998, he hadn't reached that deadline yet, but when he was interviewed in 2013, there was no problem. The creator of this secrecy system believed that most of the people involved would not live past 50 years. Cooper later became the Eastern Director of the Central Intelligence Agency, and one day his superiors at the CIA told him about a new mission they had received, which was a task from President Eisenhower at the time. It turned out that Eisenhower wanted to know all the information related to aliens, but the information held by the MJ-12 group had not been disclosed to the president. So he had to ask the CIA, because all previous CIA directors were appointed by the president and reported directly to him. They went to the White House to meet with Eisenhower. And at the time, Richard Nixon, who later became the 36th president, was also present as Eisenhower's running mate. Since Cooper's contact with UFO and alien photos and information did not involve actual contact with aliens, Eisenhower asked them to send someone to investigate S-4 base in Area 51 to gather accurate intelligence. If there was no result, he would send the First Army to take over Area 51, regardless of any secrets there, to get to the bottom of it.
If they don't, I'm going to get the First Army from Colorado, and we're going to go over, we're going to take the base over.
Eisenhower was going to invade
Yes,
Area 51.
So Cooper and a group of people flew to S-4 base in Area 51. And he saw different shapes of disc-shaped flying saucers in the open hangars. This is consistent with what Bob Lazar mentioned. Except that Cooper said he saw the Roswell crash in the first hangar, and the flying saucer was already a bit damaged. Stay tuned for the upcoming episode where we will continue Cooper's story.